Here we go.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the January 15th meeting of the City of the Norwalk Zoning Board of Appeals. For the record, we currently meet virtual on the Zoom platform rather than in person. Let's take a moment to review how the meeting will be conducted this evening. For the first 2 hours, we shall hold the public hearing for each application on tonight's agenda. Applicants and the other participants have received notice on the other notices of the hearing were printed in the Norwalk Hour and posted at the subject property. After roll call, each application will be announced by the chair and then read into the record by the secretary. The applicant or representative will state his or her name for the record and then present the appeal or code relief sought. Please present those zoning issues relevant to practical difficulty or the hardship that gave rise to this application. After you or your representative has spoken, those public participants in favor will have a chance to be heard. Following that, those public participants against the application will have the opportunity to state their opposition. Note, in the case of an appeal at this time, zoning staff will have the opportunity to present their findings. After those against the application have spoken, the applicant and only the applicant will have the opportunity to rebut and respond to any issues that may have been raised. The chair will either then close the hearing or, if appropriate, grant a continuance. The next application will be called. New applications will not normally be heard after 9 p.m. as the board must discuss and act upon these applications. No further participant or public input is accepted at that time. However, participants and the public are welcome to stay for this portion of tonight's meeting. Should you decide to lead, you may contact the zoning office tomorrow to learn about the decision or access the meeting video, which will be uploaded on the city's YouTube channel. Finally, before we proceed, I must remind you that this meeting, including each hearing, is a recorded video conference and will become a matter of permanent public record. All participants and all public commenters must state their name and address. Comments must be on topic. Please note that anyone using threatening, hateful, or sexually explicit language will be cut off and removed from the meeting and will not be allowed to rejoin. Um, I guess we'll do roll call. So tonight, I think we have everyone here. Myself as chair, Danielle Sanchik, Lee Levy, secretary, Andy Conroy, Kathy Olson, Anthony Samari, Steve Ferguson, Ben Handpeter. So each application will have 5 sitting members, which means that
Sit out
we
on this
will,
one. I'll sit out.
all right. Um, So for the first application, we will have myself, Danielle Sanchink, Anthony Samari, Lee Levy, Andy Conroy, and Kathy Olson. Oh, do we need 2 to sit out? Is that right?
Yeah.
Pardon? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, so Steve's sitting out. Who else is sitting out?
I could sit out.
Well, I'm gonna ask Ben to take my place for the first item.
Okay.
Ben's with us. Yes, I don't see him, but
Yeah,
Yeah, Ben's
he's
here,
there.
but then we need Anthony then.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Anthony will be in, Kathy, Lee, Ben, um,
and
and
yourself.
myself. Yeah.
Unless Anthony wants out for Steve.
I could do that, Steve, if you want.
So I'll sit out.
Okay. I'll
Uh,
stay in.
Okay.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda then is item 26-0115-01, ACR Property LLC, variances of front yard setback and parking within the front yard setback, back out space adjacent to Lane Road, property line to construct new single-family residence, property at 6 Lane Road. Lee, do you want to read the staff memo?
I will read this. As Daniel just said, this is item 26-0115-01, ACR Property LLC, variances of front yard setbacks, 30 feet required at Lane Road, 13 proposed and 30 feet required at East Rocks Road, 20 feet proposed, and parking within the front yard setback, 30 feet required at Lane Road, 18 proposed, and 30 feet required at East Rocks Road, 20 feet proposed, and back out space adjacent to Lane Road property line to construct a new single-family residence in the CD-1M zone, property located at 6 Lane Road, District 1, Block 83, Lot 33. Refer to Town Clerk Map 14355 depicting north parcel. Request. The applicant seeks front setback variances and relief of parking location requirements to allow construction of a new single-family residence on a vacant lot. Background. This vacant lot is the northern parcel of 3 adjacent lots surrounded by 3 streets. The current minimum lot area for CD-1M is 12,500 square feet. This lot is undersized at 7,161 square feet. A similar application was presented to the board in May, June, and July of 2025. There were some technical difficulties with the presenter in May, which led to a continuation. In June, the application was continued again due to notice error with the posted public hearing sign being removed. Finally, in July, the public hearing was closed and the decision was made to deny the application without prejudice. At that time, the board expressed a need to reconsider design and landscaping to better fit the neighborhood character. Analysis and finding. The application of setbacks as prescribed under the current zoning regulations provides a very small building envelope. This is a corner lot with frontage on 3 sides. Each of the 3 fronting property lines require a 30-foot setback. This reduced building envelope also presents challenges for the configuration along with the regulatory changes affecting corner lots could be deemed a zoning hardship. The application includes landscape plan and a slight reduction in the East Rocks Road front setback variance request from the previous applications. Danielle, it's all yours.
Thank you. Do we have a representative for the applicant?
Me.
Hi, Patsy.
Hi.
Why don't you go ahead and I think, some of us were on the previous application review, but I think definitely Anthony's new. So why don't you go ahead and share and state the case?
Okay. Patsy Gill of Gill & Gill Architects. And I worked with ACR Property on this. We designed a single family residence to fit as best we could the building envelope. This lot was created, it was subdivided as a legal building lot in 1928. So this was not a recently subdivided thing. This is a long-standing building lot. The house
Sorry,
itself.
Patsy, do you have visuals you want to share?
Patsy, what should I bring up?
Okay. Yeah, how about the site plan that I sent today?
The diagram?
The site diagram, yeah.
Everybody see it?
Yeah, bigger.
Yeah, so can you scroll so we can see the whole?
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you see all the way to
Enlarge
the,
it a bit.
yeah,
Make
to
it
the
bigger.
tip, the very tip of the property? So the blue is our house. There's well, it was red, the outline of the property itself. And then all of the green is um, unbuilt upon. So um, the house itself meets requirements as far as coverage and height. The footprint is less than 1,000 square feet. It's 976 square feet. It's a single family house, so there's two parking spaces required. One is in a garage and one is right next to the house.
Miss Gill, may I ask you, can you rotate the drawing so we can see it, so we can read it properly? A couple more. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy.
Sorry about that.
So can you zoom out further so we can see, because the
Zoom out? Like
to the, well,
that?
to the left, yeah, so there's, in blue is the outline of the stone house next to this one that a lot of people referred to. And that house is up a good 10 or 12 feet, the first floor of that house from where our first floor is. This So you can see where our house is in relationship to the intersection of Lane Road and East Rocks Road and to where Glendenning comes in. And I don't think that this house is going to block any sight lines. It's not going to cause bottleneck parking anywhere. We have one driveway added, and that's it. The zoning regulations were created after this lot was subdivided, and then the zoning regulations changed again a few years ago to decrease setbacks from what they had been. So all these things sort of were put onto this lot. We didn't create the hardship.
Patsy, do you mind going through the new documents or the changes to the documents since we saw this application previously and kind of highlight for us, what's different and what's proposed with the landscape?
Okay. Well, there's a landscape plan that I submitted. Yes. So we actually curved the driveway back and moved the back out space further away from Lane Road so that we can have a buffer there. We were going to put a little hedge along the street to the corner of the property by the next property over. The house itself didn't really change. We were going to have, I did revise the house a little bit, the siding, and we put some sliding glass doors on the side that faces the stone house so that we can have a little patio there if whoever lives there wants a patio.
But that's not shown here on this plan.
No. No. I mean, whether they have a patio or whether there's just a grassy lawn area, I'm not sure.
Right, it's not
I-
being proposed to be built at this time.
I don't want to say it's going to be there and then not get issued anything, a C of O until it gets built, or it's a nice space. It's a nice flat space to be used by whoever lives there. The side there and then towards the front. Yeah, bracketed by the hedge.
We go back to the previous document for a moment. I just had a question about the lot itself.
Oh, sorry, hang on. That's not the right one.
I mean,
You want
this works. This works
Okay.
actually. The so the on the pointy corner of the lot that's all the way on the right side of the document here, is that all public land, and the actual lot that we're talking about today is what's denoted by the, I don't even know what shape you would call this, the thing with a rounded corner and the, yeah, what exactly what you're highlighting. Thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, that's all city owned. The whole end part is city owned.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Now, you were talking about the patio on the side, and one of the comments that I had at the last meeting was that there really was no outdoor space adjacent to a kitchen, uh, where somebody could set up a barbecue, a picnic table, or anything. And you haven't really resolved that.
Well, they'd have to go downstairs and out the door, and then there would be a patio.
You would actually carry your food through the house to grill outside?
If I wanted to and I had this house, that's what I would do.
Okay, I don't think it's very practical, but, and it just, I think it's something lacking on this plan.
Another question. I know last time we were discussing the landscaping, so good to see this plan submitted here. I see two different notes on here of trees to be removed, and then that other note of trees to remain. So it is the case that on the property, only 2 trees are removed and everything else on the property is to remain. Is that correct?
Trees. Um, one is like near the street, another one is by the back out area.
There's nothing else
So
in the actual footprint of the house that would be removed.
no,
That's all just
no,
open space currently.
yes.
Okay, clear. Thank you. Maybe one other question. The staff memo mentioned that the setback request towards East Rocks was reduced a little bit. Can you say how much it was reduced by?
I think only a foot.
And that was by
Well,
shrinking
from
the
the
footprint of the house by a foot in that direction, not by shifting the footprint of the house. Is that correct?
no, I think we shifted slightly. I don't have my old plan here.
So my recollection, I don't have it either, but I thought this was at 18 and a half previously. This where I'm circling,
Hmm.
but maybe so I thought it was I thought it was just clipped in the back, but maybe I'm incorrect.
It's a small detail.
I-
I was just curious.
Yeah, I think the house shifted, as you're looking at this drawing, I think it shifted to the left a little bit.
Sorry, Tammy, does our staff memo say 18 feet proposed and this is showing 20?
I thought it was previously 18 proposed and now at 20.
Uh,
The-
18
Yeah, hang on,
proposed and
sorry.
30 required and then 20
proposed.
proposed. I guess it says both, kind of.
Let me
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
20
let me look.
proposed
Yeah.
from East Rocks.
And 18 at Lane, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I think we're all set, right? I think it's makes sense.
Yeah,
Maybe I worded it a little weirdly. Yeah.
Okay.
I could try to find the old plan if you guys want me to search my files.
I think
Exact-
I mean, I'm okay. I don't know if anybody else wants to.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I think a
Right.
foot or two at this point along East Rocks is insignificant.
Okay.
All
I
right.
was looking through my old
I had
files,
a-
but it doesn't look like I downloaded it.
I had a question about parking, if I may.
Okay.
So I'm looking, I mean, in my drive-by yesterday of the lot again, since the previous meeting, I went by again just to ensure I had everything right in my mind. I mean, obviously it's a very hectic area, but so is there a garage on the premises? And then how many parking spaces are you proposing here? There's one parking space and then or two parking spaces, then a turnaround? If you could just go over that, Ms. Gill.
There's a single car garage in the house, and then right outside of that, there is a parking space. Those are the two required spaces.
Okay.
Plus a
And then that's just
turnaround.
regular.
The
Okay.
other area is just the back out space. Yeah.
And then there's street parking on Lane Road?
No,
Right. So there's no other parking. Where would, if you have guests over, where would the guests park?
well, I guess they could park along the Lane Road, but I'm not having any specific parking there. We're planning
Okay.
on putting some plantings on our property. This actually is an older, I think this is a little older. This is before we angled the back out space a little further away from Lane Road.
I mean, I was on Lane Road on Saturday, and I was parked in the on the lawn area more, and cars were slowing down to go around me.
Right.
It's a tight road.
All right. That's why I'm asking, because I don't see where you would have, accessibility for more than the homeowner to be parking at the house.
Well, a guest could park in the little drive, like 18 feet's enough for a car, right?
Yeah, you could fit
Yes.
two more spaces in there. I mean, you'd be blocking the garage.
Right. Which, when you have guests, is happens.
Is okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? All right. If no
I'm
one
all
else
set.
from the board has any questions, we can open it up to public comments.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's do the letters that we received first, and then we can do public comments in this meeting. So, Lee, you want to take it away? We got two
Oh.
PDFs from Tammy.
Yes, I've got both of them here. I mean, one
Feel
of them,
free to summarize.
yeah. We have a letter from Josh Leggy. Hello, Tammy. I'm writing to formally dissent from the proposed zoning variance requested for the property at 6 Lane Road. I live just around the corner from this site and have serious concerns about the impact these variances would have on the safety, character, and functionality of our neighborhood. While I understand the applicant proposes to construct a new single-family residence and requires variance for front yard setbacks, parking within the front setbacks, and back out space adjacent to Lane Road property line, I strongly believe granting these variances will make existing traffic and safety problems worse. My specific concerns are as follows. 1. Lane Road is already dangerously narrow. Lane Road is a below average width street, and on many days, especially during inclement weather, cars must stop to allow oncoming vehicles to pass safely. This is not hypothetical. I and other neighbors witness and experience this constraint regularly. Additional driveway access, parking close to the road, or new curb cuts would only worsen what is already a challenging roadway for local residents and visitors. 2. Safety issues for residents and emergency vehicles. With the road so tight, increased use or additional curb cuts could impede the passage of emergency vehicles, delivery trucks, and refuse collection, raising legitimate public safety concerns. 3. The proposed variances remove important protections. Variances to front yard setbacks and parking regulations weaken neighborhood design standards that exist to preserve spacing and sightlines. Reducing these standards on a street that cannot accommodate existing traffic flow heightens congestion and risk. 4. A compromise should be required. I would be willing to consider support for a reasonable development on this parcel if the property owner would be willing to dedicate sufficient land to the city to allow Lane Road to be widened to a safe, acceptable standard. Without such a condition, increased density and a location that cannot safely support it is irresponsible. For the reasons above, I request that the board deny the requested variances until there is a plan that addresses traffic safety and road capacity, ideally including a right-of-way improvement that such as a dedicated widening. Maintaining neighborhood safety and preserving the character of our residential streets should be paramount. Thank you for your consideration of my concerns. Sincerely, Josh Leggy. The second letter is from Gail Candlin. Dear members of the Appeals Board, I am writing a brief note to state my opposition to the additions of a building at this newly formed address at 6 Lane Road. This is the second attempt and a different address for the developer to overdevelop this parcel of land. The first site plan is misleading as it does not show the larger two-family home on the adjacent part of the property, which was the original house on this lot. The developer converted the large original house to a two-family dwelling Now he wants to wedge an additional dwelling, making this lot multifamily apartment complex. The number of cars currently parked there is 6 to 8 on a nightly basis. This impacts the neighborhood. Most of the homes in the area are of a historic character and landscaping. This new proposed dwelling will truly become a large building and a parking lot. This will increase traffic, density, noise, and eliminate an area of green space with mature trees. Also, this is a developer, not a Norwalk resident, and not someone who has concern for the greater good and growth of the community. Additional housing may be needed, but not at the expense of well-established green neighborhoods. Thank you for your service on the board. Sincerely, Gail Candelin. That's it.
The first PDF had like a bunch more comments, right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more.
6 more? Do we want to just
Oh,
list
7.
everybody and
7 more. No.
I don't have anything that's sitting in front of me. Somebody else has something to be read in, please do.
Right. You want to just note it for the record?
yeah, why don't we just list the people who wrote in and their addresses?
Okay. So we have an Amy Cull, and I'm not sure of her address. She had concerns with reference to the neighborhood character and scale, the increased density and impact, and then what this type of stewardship of the property, as well as the precedent set by the board. We have another one from Ray Geyer over at 30 East Avenue, also objecting to the new development. And there were multiple families living at 1 East Rocks now, and the neighborhood doesn't need added noise, traffic, or disruption of new construction. Please stop this and do not allow them zoning that would give a green light to building a house on any side of the existing property. We have another one from a Jacqueline Novante. I don't have an address here. Expressing concern as to the proposal of the houses. There's a house there with over 7 parked cars there daily. Lane Road is very narrow. There's no room for street parking on Lane Road or on portions of East Rocks Road where the other house has frontage. In addition, Glendening has cars parked on both sides of the street for multiple family houses on that road. There's no additional parking opportunities on that road either. The site is north of the existing home is very narrow. Placing a home in this site will block views for ongoing traffic. There's complaints about how the property is actually being kept right now. We have another one from a Patricia Zakos over at 10 Homer Street. It seems as though she's a nearby resident who walks and drives by there. The variants sought are severe and significant and should not be granted in person. One immediately sees the proposed structure would be out of character and with immediate and nearby properties, many 19th and early century homes with appropriate setbacks from roadways. Placing a home on this lot as proposed would defy reasonableness and disrespect for the neighborhood and for its current and future residents. Other factors are traffic on East Rocks and the number of parked cars on both sides of Glendon Road and the vicinity project. We have another one from Jana Jaga and David Kalan over at 3 East Avenue. This is a bad idea for a busy road and intersection. The owner has not taken care of the property he bought. Cars are parked on both sides of the house. Where else in Norwalk do you have parking in the front and the back of the house? The Cannon side that he wishes to develop has a boat parked on it and has had times piles of large rocks. Not sure where the driveway would be for that house. It's fairly narrow lot. The other side of the house is a steep hill. It seems like a building site. The site does not need a variance. It should start conforming with the other homes in the neighborhood and put parking in one place. We have another one from Dawn Hodges over at 9 East Meadow Lane. They live in the neighborhood, and we are against trying to build more houses on this property. There's already so many cars at this location and the other housing units in the area, which will cause excess parking. Putting a house on the triangle part of the lot is going to block views for traffic coming off the very skinny lane road, which is already an issue. I apologize. Oh, Lauren DiBartolomeo. I see that there's developer plans to raise this variance request again on January 15th. I would like to continue to voice strong opposition. In my opinion on this matter has not changed. There is no meaningful improvement to the developer's plan to make me feel comfortable about my position. And that's attaching an email from prior where they had problems with the parcel with safety, privacy, community consistency. I think that's it.
Thanks, Anthony.
No problem.
Okay.
Am I allowed to rebut any of that right now? I mean, I think I already addressed a lot of the concerns people had, and a lot of those complaints have to do with other properties, not the property that is the subject of this hearing.
I believe you'll have time after we have public comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to open it for public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this application, if you could please raise your hand. Tammy, I think I see one hand raised,
Yeah,
but it's
I
been
think
raised
that-
for a while, so.
I'm gonna lower that one for now. So
Okay.
Chris, I just lowered your hand. If you want to speak in favor, raise your hand now. Anyone? Okay, no raised hands.
All right. So now we'll open it to anyone that wants to speak in opposition. If you could raise your hand.
Okay, we're gonna go with Chris first. Chris, you just need to unmute.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. I'm Chris Shimko I live on Bumblebee Lane in Norwalk. I'm a lifelong resident. So just looking at that diagram, it seemed a little misguided with the dimensions on there. It made it look like the house was much smaller than compared to the overall size of the lot. And if anyone drove by that lot, you know that's not the case. There is not a flat part on that lot. My concerns with also the setbacks on East Rocks is there going to be any integrity issues with the road? because when it's sloped now and that's holding that road up. Like what happens when you start digging into that slope? So there's integrity issues there. And I just don't think you should be putting that house, any house, on that size lot. And I'm sure you've all driven by and are astonished that anyone would even think of putting a lot there. Aside from that, I would just, as a board, I would just look back at the zoning regulations and I did some research into it. And if you look into section 1.5, the purpose, intent, and objectives. And if you look at C, it's to protect the character and maintain the stability of the residential, commercial, industrial areas within the city's jurisdictions. Additionally, M is to prevent overcrowding. To prevent overcrowding of land and undue concentration of structures so far as it's possible and appropriate in each district by regulating the use of the bulk of the buildings in relation to the land surrounding them and the form and character of development. I think if you just look at those, and if you deny that, that would be upholding the standards of the design zoning regulations. So I just think as a board, this is a no-go, but that's just my 2 cents. And I appreciate your service. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Sophie. Sophie, you need to unmute.
Yes, hi. Okay, so I mean, I have a couple.
Could you speak up, please?
Can you hear me?
Please speak up.
I don't know how to raise the volume.
You're doing okay.
Oh,
State your name.
let me just see if I can raise the volume. Yes, so my name is Sophie Konstandaki. I live at East Rock. I live at 2 East Rocks Road. So there are a couple of things that stood out to me about this application. So one, it was mentioned that, you know, these zoning regulations were created after the lot was created. However, the original lot was 0.15 acres and a subdivision took place on both properties. The one that is 2 East Rocks Road, and there was no 2-lane road or 6-lane road. So there was 2 East Rocks Road, and the other one was like an unnumbered East Rocks Road address. The 0.15, the you know, the property that is under consideration now. So really the whole thing was subdivided again. So 2 East Rocks Road was subdivided, and that resulted in hold on, I wrote this down. A lot size of so the lot with the stone house on it is 0.405 acres. The lot at 2-lane road is 0.322 acres, which adds up to 0.725. The original size of the property of those 2 lots was 0.74, because the parcel that was 0.15 acres is now 0.165. So a subdivision did take place, and the subdivision did affect the property that is under consideration now. So I don't see why it should not be, you know, covered. So why this current zoning regulations should not apply, and why there should be any variance to this property. Further, there are very big safety concerns. I travel down Lane Road, you know, daily, because I have to, since I live at the very end of East Rocks Road, it's easier for me coming from the direction of like Cannon Road when you turn off of East Avenue. It's easier for me to turn on Lane Road and then make the left off of Lane Road to get to my house than to make the very sharp turn, from Cannon Street onto East Rocks Road. So I recognize that, like, you need to keep that space clear, because when you're turning left from Lane Road, you know, the visibility will be affected. You will not, you may not be able to see the oncoming traffic. So this is very dangerous. Of course, I could also speak to the character of the neighborhood, because, like, yes, the historical character of the neighborhood is being affected by this type of development. And, those of us who live here like to preserve that character, you know, obviously don't want to see that happen because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with the area at all. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you know, the bigger, you know, that's they're asking for variances, and I don't believe they should be granted. And I gave you the reasons. Safety is very big, and you know, the fact is that this, you know, there should be no grandfathering of, you know, like maybe the lot was considered buildable in 1928, but in 1928, people also built very small houses. I live in a house that was built in 1930, and the footprint is the same. I haven't done anything to change it. So, you know, I hope you take all of these things under consideration, and safety. Of course, Lane Road is almost like a one-way street. It is that narrow. So you do actually, anytime you're passing somebody on Lane Road, you know, you have to slow down. You have to be very careful, you know, and you kind of almost have to pull over to go around each other. So really, we don't need more traffic on Lane Road. I think that about sums it up for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Amy, either Kuhl or Cool. Amy, you just need to unmute.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. I wrote the letter, Anthony. Thank you for summarizing it. It's kind of why I put it in bold so people's eyeballs would just go down it and pick up the fine points. I would just like to echo what everybody said. I've not met Josh or Chris or Sophie, but we all live in this neighborhood. I've been here for 25 years, and all of our feelings, whether they be emotional or whether they be factual, are the same. This piece of property is got a stunning, and thank you for some of you who drove by to really look at it before we had this call again. We keep kind of pounding the pavement here to see if this house could be shoehorned into this oddly shaped property. And I think this is just not a case of sensitive infill. This is a case of overdevelopment for a really constrained parcel. What's currently going on at One Lane is really quite horrendous and an eyesore, and it's been that way for years. Whether it was the trees that were being pulled down, the years of stonework that was ongoing. What currently is there now is a huge muddy lot with a boat and a bunch of erratically parked cars on both East Rocks and on Lane. And now we're being asked, I think this is the 5th meeting, to shoehorn a second home onto a piece of property in a residential neighborhood. And all of us are desperately holding on to the idea that we could continue living in a leafy residential neighborhood. And it's quite clear from the way that this property is currently maintained that one family home has been cut up. And somebody said 2 families, but I would imagine there's a whole lot more living in there. Generally, there are about 8 or 9 cars parked down below, trucks and cars parked up above. I don't believe Mr. Coelho lives in the neighborhood. I don't think he really cares what happens to that house. It is all about income generation, while we're really finally focused on quality of life. Lane is very narrow. It, as everybody has said previously, you cannot get by without being really cognizant of those coming left and right. The other houses on Lane are majestic. They're beautiful. They're houses that have been there for a really long time, in the style of this stone house that Mr. Coelho bought and cut up and, quite frankly, desecrated in the area. And now I can't imagine, as Ms. Gill said, that only 2 trees are coming down in order to put this house there. And I really, it's going to be shoved into a very, very tight space. And I, for one, would do anything I can to make sure that it doesn't happen. We went back, back last April when the sign was up and the sign wasn't down, and then the sign was up and then it wasn't down. We kind of had the same thing here. The sign was down. I was away on business. for a couple weeks and got notes from neighbors who said the sign was down, and I came back and it was down and then up the next day once somebody posted something on Facebook. So it all just feels very suspect. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't add any value to the neighborhood. It's not going to look great. And what's currently there now, if that is any indication of what we're going to have going forward, I would urge everybody on the board to vote against this and take your time to drive by again and just see the big muddy lot that has been there for as long as I can remember. So I thank you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, we have Sophie who's raised her hand again. Do you want to allow her to talk again, Chair?
I think we're probably okay. I think we kind of got the gist from everybody and all the letters.
Okay.
Patsy, if you would like, now is the time to respond to any of the comments.
Okay, the comments about all the parking at the house next door and the muddy lot down at the other end of the block, the lot we're talking about now is undeveloped, and there's never any cars on it. And the colored site plan that we looked at the beginning, it's a survey, measured out and drawn by a surveyor showing the house, the footprint of the house in the proposed size. So saying that it's not, if we drew it smaller than it's really going to be is not correct. I did do a section drawing through the property. I mean, I have this, it looks like this. Tammy, if you want to put
I'll bring
that
it up.
one
Give me-
on.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll find it. We see that?
Yeah, so can you maybe make it smaller so that you can see East Rocks Road? Yeah, there you go. So the house sort of nestles in to the site. From the East Rocks Road side, it's not very tall. And it's 2.5 stories on Lane Road, which we were allowed to do. The gable roofs, clapboard siding, double hung windows. This is a lot of the houses in the neighborhood have similar things. There are some older houses, of course, with gambrel roofs or other things going on. But this is not extremely different from what is going on in the neighborhood.
Would you hold on 1 minute? We have other people talking in the background, so make sure your audio is off so that we can hear Ms. Gill.
It seems to just have happened again. Let me try. All right.
Tammy, maybe you want to bring back that colored site plan again?
Sure.
The house is where the house is situated is not going to interfere with sight lines around Lane Road and East Rocks.
I think it's very deceptive that you have colored city property as green, kind of trying to relate it to the site itself.
Well, what I'm trying to point out is that our property, people seem to under the impression that the property went all the way to the end and we were going to have this house sitting there blocking the views. So the point of this was to show that all of that is green, undeveloped space.
It should have been a different color green because people think that that is part of the site.
I see the pink line. The pink line is the site.
It's
It's
very
very
unreadable.
clearly,
It's
it's
very unreadable
clearly
on this.
delineated. It looks pretty clear to me. I don't see how that's unreadable. But where the blue house is situated, it's not. It's set very far back from that intersection. That's the point I'm trying to make. And also, if the city wants to widen Lane Road, they do have a right of way between 6 and 10 feet wide along there. They could do that.
And Patsy, can you just remind me, I believe we talked about it in a previous meeting. When was the property, what date was the property subdivided from the one larger lot?
In 1928. This was subdivided in 1928.
Okay.
And there are old maps showing it there.
Yep. Anyone else on the board have any final questions, comments?
I mean, the property itself, obviously, it has a hardship. It's clearly a difficult property. But I'm not sure if that Lane Road is tight. I don't know how you're putting more traffic on it. The other properties on Lane Road seem to be further back. I guess they're in compliance with the current zoning.
And I can only imagine it's going to be a nightmare during construction because nobody can park on East Avenue to access this site to work. And I know how construction vehicles are parked.
Right. I mean, I think this is, driving on Lane Road. I mean, frankly, before this petition, I'd never been on that street before. And it is tight. Like, I don't think that we should be adding density to a driveway that enters into that road. I just don't think it's something that seems safe. I think from a danger perspective, it's seems silly.
Well, my two biggest issues are I don't think that the interior of the house, which we shouldn't be concerned with, relates very poorly to the site. I mean, families like to barbecue, they like to spend time outside, and this development provides none of that. The second thing is that I don't think this house responds to the architecture of the surrounding houses. This looks like something that's just dropped on the site from the sky. There's no consideration of historical context, of design or materials taken into consideration at all.
So I'm going to just interject, or not interject, but advise the attendees. Now we have a couple of hands raised, so the opportunity for public comment is done.
Yep. Okay. So if there are no more questions that are directed toward the applicant, we'll close this and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and then we'll come back to the board discussion after that.
Okay, the next item is 25-0717-01, Norwalk CT Avenue LLC, continued from July 17th, 2025. Variance of table 4.3.1-G, front setback 6 feet minimum, 12 feet maximum required, 84 feet proposed. Building height, 2-story minimum required, 1 story at rear, 2 story at front proposed, and frontage build-out 60% required, 0% proposed to construct a new additional principal building proposed as freestanding drive-through coffee shop in CD-3C zone, property located at 641 Connecticut Avenue, District 5, Block 72, Lot 28A. And B, revised plans were approved with conditions. Request. The applicant is requesting an extension of time in which to obtain building permits for the above referenced variances. The Zoning Board of Appeals approved the project with conditions on August 21st, 2025. Building permits were to be secured by February 17th, 2026. A zoning permit has been issued for the project. If 3-month extension of time is granted, building permits must be obtained by May 18th, 2026. If a 6-month extension of time is granted, building permits must be obtained by August 16th, 2026.
Okay.
Danielle, don't forget
Yep.
to list the members that are sitting on this.
Yep, I was just going to ask. We need 2 people to sit out.
I'll sit out because I
volunteers?
wasn't on it.
Okay.
I wasn't on it originally, so I'll sit out.
Sounds good. Somebody else?
I'll
Set
volunteer.
up for this one if you need me to.
All right, we'll have Ben sit out, Steve, since you sat out the last one.
Okay.
All right, so we have myself, Lee, Andy, Kathy, and Steve. Do we have someone representing the applicant? Hi, Liz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Liz Succi, partner at Carmody Torrance Sandak and Hennessy, 1055 Washington Boulevard, and I've represented 641 Connecticut Avenue, the applicant before you back in August. As Commissioner Levy pointed out, variances were granted on August 21st. Certificate of variance was recorded timely in September. We sought a zoning application was submitted. We sought a zoning permit in September. That permit was finally issued in November. Thereafter, the client commenced work with the Department of Public Works, and their review took about a month. We just received comments from Public Works about 10 days ago, which are being responded to. We still need to have the project reviewed by the fire department, and then following that, the health department. So the various departmental reviews are underway. However, they will not be completed by the February date. That's the 6 months after your approval. So we're asking an extension of time so those further reviews can be undertaken and completed, and then the building department application for building permit can proceed. I think a 6-month would be better, so we don't have to come back before you again, and we wouldn't have to pay another fee in the event that for some reason the other departments are delayed in their final reviews, and the building department building permit is delayed as well. But it is, of course, within your purview to grant less than 6 months. Present tonight also is Mike Barbuto of Yankee Crew, 7 Brew, if you have any questions of the applicant. But we are diligently proceeding and pursuing all the additional reviews and permits necessary to move forward.
Okay. So anyone on the board have any questions?
I just have one. I wanted to have some coffee, but I guess I'll have to wait a little bit longer. I was hoping this winter, but I guess not.
No,
So,
it'll be good. You can walk up, Steve.
yeah, I could walk there, you know.
Happy to answer any other questions if you have any.
Okay.
No, really, no questions.
No. Do we have to do public comment on any
No,
time
it's not a
extension?
public hearing.
Great. Then we'll close this and we'll move into board discussion, deliberation, and voting.
Well, thank you, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone, and congratulations, Commissioner Samari. Welcome to the board. Thank you.
Night, Liz.
All right. with that, let's do these in reverse order. So let's start with this application for Norwalk Connecticut Avenue LLC.
I have no problem giving them 6 months.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's do 6.
It's fine.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we give them a 6-month extension. I'm Andy.
I second that motion to give him a 6-month extension.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Back to 6 Lane Road.
I got a lot of problems with this. And I think I stated them earlier that the house does not fit well. It does not work well on the site. I feel for the people living in the bedrooms on the second floor who are just going to lie in bed watching the traffic go by on East Avenue, because that's where the window line is going to be. A house should have been built on this site in the 1920s, as was probably intended. But I just don't see this house working on the site for a lot of reasons.
Do have a pretty serious hardship though here. I mean, the site, if you want to build entirely within the confines of the zoning code, it's not buildable. It's a useless lot. So I think
respect.
that.
Okay, go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say I think their case of a hardship is pretty strong, and a lot of the arguments against that I've heard so far from public comment, I'm not really convinced by. I can elaborate on that, but Lee, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say I have actually worked on a couple of sites in my career that were the strange triangular configuration this has. And you have to take a different attitude on the house being put on the site. And I don't think this house responds very well to the site. And I think if the house were designed within some historical context and really thought about how the house relates to the land and how the people are going to use the house and the site together, I think it would be a much more successful and therefore acceptable project.
I know you had that comment about the outside space. I feel like they had that covered just by virtue of having the whole driveway apron. I mean, that serves quite a lot of uses for quite a lot of people, I would think.
Yeah, but if you're grilling a steak outside, are you going to really walk through your entire house up and down stairs to use your grill?
Not everyone's big into grilling. I think that might be a use case. Everyone uses their spaces differently.
I agree.
Like if I was in the market to buy this place once it's built, I could choose whether that was a deal breaker for me or not. I don't think it's so much our purview to dictate how they use the space in this particular sense.
I'm with Ben. It's a tough spot. It's a really tough. They made the hardship case. It's there. I don't know, and also I think a lot of the complaints were, I guess it's the same developer as the guy next door, and they just don't like what he's done with the site next door, and they figure that something else is going to happen there. That being said, Lane Road is very tight, and adding more traffic there might be a problem. And that was raised by almost everyone, all the neighbors.
I wasn't so much convinced by that either, to be totally honest. I mean, I've been to this site in person, and I remember kind of standing at the point of where the driveway would be, and you've got good visibility up the street and you've got good visibility down the street. So it doesn't really feel so much to me like there's a huge visibility issue. And given that it is only a single family home, you're talking 2 cars. So it's kind of like a different conversation to have than when P&Z considers a big apartment building, for example, where you're going to have, 200 vehicles potentially coming and going from that lot all day long.
I agree with that. That
this isn't so much like a congestion problem.
Yeah, this is one house being constructed on admittedly by everybody a narrow road, but when you get an Amazon truck parked in front of this house and probably every other house on the street, it blocks all traffic.
But that's already happening on this street, right?
I know.
I mean,
I know, but I'm saying I don't see that as a negative because it's already going on.
Yeah.
Well, and that's not exactly true, because if you look at the ones on Lane, they're all set back. They all have their driveways.
Yeah, but Amazon's not parking in your driveway. They're stopping on the road.
Yes, true.
And also, too, though, I mean, Ben, you had said, there'll be 2 cars at the house. I mean, if you have teenage kids, I mean, there's 4 cars at houses. I don't know what 2-car houses, you guys are seeing, but I mean, where I live, it's a pretty small street also, nothing like Lane Road, but, most houses have 3 or 4 cars because they have children that are either in high school, college, or young adults. And, parking is a definite issue. So when I drove by there, my first thing was, where are these people going to park? And I just thought the driveway plan, sure, it they have the 1-car garage, they have the spot, but again, if you have 4 cars at the house and then you have people over, where are these people parking? And it's already a very crowded street. So that's really my biggest issue with it.
And that they've legally met their requirement for the parking minimum.
I mean, not
yes.
The number of spaces,
2 spots,
but they're in this front setback. One of the variance items is parking in the front setback. However, I don't think, I think the lot hardship variance, like the buildable size, we've talked about, and I agree with you, Ben. I think they've made a good case for that being an actual hardship, and I don't think parking in the front setback is really causing any kind of visibility problems.
Yeah, like I think we're talking about the concern of there not being enough spots, but they've done what the zoning code requires of them on that front.
Right. If we think that houses of this size need 3 parking spaces, that's a different ask, and that's not what the zoning is actually asking them to do. Okay.
Yeah. I have a couple other thoughts. I remember from last time around, my biggest hang up with them was that they were not prepared to speak to the landscaping impacts of their proposal. So I'm happy to see that from this time around. And y'all might recall I was sympathetic to the application last time, and I think what they've shown today is a small improvement over that. So I still think they provide a compelling case.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
Sure. Unless other people have comments.
Anybody else?
Okay.
All
I will
right.
make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. I think they made a compelling case for the hardship with the setback requirements and the resulting lot. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
It's 2. All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So with that, the
For the
motion does.
record, can we poll for the record there? I just want to make sure I've got everybody.
Sure.
So
So Ben and I were in favor, and Anthony, Lee, and Kathy were opposed.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so with that, the motion fails.
Okay.
All right,
Now what?
draft minutes.
I guess last time we voted to deny without prejudice. If we have a motion to approve that fails, how is that different, if at all?
They can't make an application again for 6 months.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. All right. Last item is the minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
I have
Yep.
read through them. I
sure
didn't find anything that jumped off the page at me.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move it. Andy.
And I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
I will also abstain because I wasn't there. Tammy, did you get that?
I did. Thank you.
Okay. All right. With that, I think that wraps up the meeting.
Do you have any more admin stuff, Tammy? Things we got
No.
to be prepared for?
Nothing this month.
Okay, I'll tell the board I'm not going to be at the February meeting. I've got a conference in Asheville, North Carolina, and then I'm off to work in Los Angeles.
Ooh, fun.
I also will not be at the February meeting. I let Tammy know. I will be flying to India that evening.
Maybe less
One up.
fun.
Hopefully it's fun when you get there.
Yeah. Work or pleasure?
For pleasure. I'm going to India and Nepal.
Cool.
Very
Cool. I
I'm
like the
excited.
Nepal thing. Take lots of pictures.
I will. We'll do a slideshow when I get back.
Right into the record.
All right. Well, I'm planning on being around, so
Yeah.
hopefully I'll see everybody else next month.
Okay.
Hopefully nobody gets sick.
All right.
We have a motion
Should
to
we-
adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All right.
Favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.
Hey,
Thank
Danielle, good job.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
you'll learn the
Stop.
ropes.
We'll get there.
Mhm.
All right.
Great job.
Thanks.
care.
Bye.
Bye.